Hey everybody, Brian Von Vier here, back at it again with another set of D&D stories. Today, we're going to be talking about the best ways that you, yes you, the players, have completely shut down an encounter. My old man Dragonborn Samurai just yelled, "Not now!" in Draconic at a group of incoming bandit kobolds and drakes. Nat 20 in intimidation, so they just turned and ran. I'd literally noped an encounter. When I was playing Samuel, another player and I didn't really stop the encounter. Instead, we completely Uno reversed the situation for the big bad evil guy. During a one-shot where the party had to deal with a den of kobolds, we had gotten ourselves surrounded by them. Samuel and the Dragonborn in the party realized Sam could convince the den to join his side, since he was a half-dragon, but he would need to treat the Dragonborn like a servant to do so. We both asked the DM if he could try this plan, and he said, Sure, go for it." "Look what you've done, servant. You've gotten us surrounded." And I kicked the Dragonborn to the ground. "I'm sorry, sir. I didn't think there would be this many." As he grovels in front of Sam, the party was confused at first, but then realized what Sam and the Dragonborn were doing and joined in.
"All of you, roll a persuasion."
Dragonborn rolls a nat 20, I roll an 18, the rest of the party averaged around a 3.
"Thanks to your little display, the kobolds are willing to listen to you, Sam. What do you do?"
Sam looks to the kobolds and says,
"If I can get these powerful adventurers to bow down before me, but your master's scared of us, doesn't that mean I'm more powerful than your master?"
Roll persuasion is a dirty 20. The kobolds are not fully convinced of your act. I roar at the top of my lungs in Draconic.
"Well?"
Roll with advantage thanks to your party's display. Nat 20. So the kobolds have come to the realization that they've been serving a false leader. They decide to join your party as minions. You are now a king of kobolds. After talking with the kobolds and getting a layout of the den, we set a trap for the big bad evil guy and successfully killed him before he even had a chance to find out the kobolds had switched sides. The party would then help the den become a craft and trade guild in the area. We also prevented further false leaders, as Samuel led the den for many years and even trained kobolds to be leaders like him. My DM was doing a werewolf encounter. He'd been repeatedly making a big deal of how the curse of the werewolf was horrible, and a ton of lore about how the werewolf's curse had been affecting the town for generations, etc. My cleric just came prepared with a ton of remove curse spells ready to go. Had them all free of the curse in a few turns. He'd really played up the aspect of them struggling against the curse with their human sides, and once I removed the curse, well, the rest of the werewolves just sort of decided to line up and wait their turn. My tiefling warlock was supposed to be making a pivotal choice in a campaign. 2 warring kings were locked in combat during the final stages of a battle. I was supposed to choose a side, but in my eyes, both kings were in the wrong. I picked up a bow from the ground, notched 2 arrows, and rolled a nat 20. Both kings died that day, and I ended a war. We were fighting some really high-level dark knights on a bridge over a big drop with the big bad on their side. We were supposed to get our asses handed to us, but one of the players in our party, a dwarf I think, had the tendency to make everything into a blunt and smoke it. Well, the bridge was made of wood, and he dropped his blunt. So the dwarf shut down an encounter, beat the entire campaign, and got high at the same time. What a legend. In a recent game, I had my group working with a small dwarven village against an orcish invasion. The group had gone into a cave to secure some dwarven property from the orcs, and mid-combat with some orcs, the cleric of the group felt a ghostly essence pass through him. Later, the group found a small room with "Keep Out, Dead Inside" written in orcish. Are you sure it wasn't "Keep Dead Out Inside"? Inside were 12 dwarven skeletons that the group instantly massacred. When the party entered a small room, they saw the ghostly apparition of a dwarf sat next to a blue ethereal fireplace.
"Welcome, friends. I've been waiting for help to strike back against the orcs." I've reanimated bodies of my clanmates next door, ready to reclaim their glory. Will you stand with us?
The party then explained that they had dusted the skeletons, then lectured the ghost on passing through his body without consent, but still asked if they could stay in the room with him to rest and heal up. The ghost looked at them with pure rage, flicked his wrist, and with a huge gust of wind blew them out of the only safe room in the cave and locked the door. No long rest for you. I was playing Descent into Avernus, and on our way to Candlekeep, we were ambushed by some dragon cultists. Earlier, when we had encountered some of the cultists, I had picked up one of their masks, and thanks to the fact that I spoke Draconic, I knew about some important person within their organization. So once the cultists came upon us, I put on the cultist mask I had taken and managed to bluff that our party was on an important mission under orders by their leader. Due to a successful deception check, we were left alone. I DM a homebrew campaign where there are these wells of power scattered about the continent, basically holes in the ground with massive beams of magic pouring out of them. And each well has a specific weapon formed by the magic of the well. The barbarian had already found a cursed great axe that was one of these weapons, and the party had just found the second after killing a young white dragon. It was a halberd. I had described that touching of the two blades as causing a shockwave. I was going for a kind of repulsion from each blade like Ninjago golden weapons. So when the party encountered this giant turtle T-Rex looking boss monster, the barbarian decided to stab both weapons into the creature's jaw. The explosion knocked its jaw off and disabled its breath attack, making the encounter fairly easy, and the barbarian now became a, sort of dentist. Injured and fatigued at the end of a hard underground dungeon, our party slowly began to tread forward. A child soldier / failed experiment, a delusional dragonborn bard, and my character, a soulless scientist. We were really hoping that we could get out without having to fight another monster. Turns out, we had chosen basically the worst options throughout the session and were presented with a demigod who had a personal grudge against the child. He had found us and made it clear that he would not leave before he had, and I quote, dismembered the little girl and the ones who dared to protect her. The bard offered the child as a sacrifice and got downed in one shot. I was next in line. Then I remembered I had this insanely high-level spell that needed a crit to succeed at my current level. I knew it could do something great, but did not quite know what. So, as any sane person would do, I cast it. Nat 1. Turns out the spell could transport a target into a parallel world. The demigod popped out of existence and my character developed a superiority complex. Note, he later returned because my character from the parallel world did the exact same thing, except it brought not one but two demigods back to us. We are still running away to this day. Okay, so I have the perfect one for this and I'm excited to share. This happened in the last session we played, the third session of my first campaign. Kinda long, but it's definitely worth it. So our party was sent to get some blood moss from the swamp. Our party consisted of me, a human warlock under the pact of the Lurker of the Deep named Zygon, our dragonborn cleric, Yob, and our rock gnome, Bubba. We were all level 5 at this point. So far I had kept the fact that I was a worshipper of the Lurker a secret because his worship was, shunned and frowned upon in this campaign. So we enter a small clearing filled with multiple pools of water, and our DM starts placing an insane number of dice to represent enemies. I'm not sure the exact number, but I'd say at least 30. They were all bullywugs. Oh, that's not good. I rolled the lowest initiative, but still higher than the bullywugs. So at this point, Yob drew his mace and started cussing out the bullywugs in an intimidation attempt, but rolled a 7. Bubba drank a health potion since he needed to heal from the last encounter, and I stepped forward knowing it was time to reveal my secret. Now, I have put a lot of points into charisma gathering the actor feat, and I'm able to use the Mask of Many Faces at will. My DM also gave me a special homebrew bag of devouring that was full of water and linked to the lurker's realm. I commune with the lurker by sticking my head inside and talking to him on a daily basis. This is important for what's next. So my character sticks his right arm into the bag and casts Packed Weapon, which turns his arm into a 10-foot-long tentacle. He uses Mask of Many Faces to make himself look exactly like the lurker. Think like Nautilus or Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean. With the actor feat, I can mimic the voice of anyone I've heard speak. So as I'm standing there with my arm having turned into one of the lurker's tentacles and having donned the visage and the voice of the Leviathan himself, I roll for intimidation. Nat fucking 20. After bonuses, it was technically a 31. Jesus Christ. I shout at them, "Tremble before the might of the lurker and flee, or I will drag you to the depths of the abyss, from whence you shall never return." This display is heightened by my ability to telepathically communicate with any creatures that have an innate swimming speed within 120 feet. Oh, they were all within 120 feet. So, as all the bullywugs see this creature shouting at them, their minds are also filled with the voice of the lurker telling them to flee. Needless to say, they all ran away. Several passed out, and my allies had several questions as to what the fuck I had just done. I'm sorry, I'm just a worshiper of the lurker, I can't help it. It was at D&D 3.5. We had to kill an evil magician who stole the power of the god of fire for himself. 750 HP, infinite fireballs, and casts fireball as an attack action. Nothing out of the normal for our group since we had lots of magic items. So the magician gave his speech about how he was going to rule the world through flames of the gods, and we started the fight. First turn, our wizard pulls out one of his magic items, a magic D6 that he would roll to apply an effect depending on the result. We had never used it before this encounter. 1, 2, and 3 would kill whoever rolled the dice. 4 would summon an Ifrit to grant a wish that would probably screw over the wisher. 5 would cause a wild magic trigger. 6 would give the user the ability to point towards a creature and make it die. Somehow. The DM made this dice to have a fun magic item to test the player's greed and didn't think we would use it in combat as the whole party was made of new players, so he didn't take note of it. He was one of the most honest DMs I ever had. The wizard rolled a 6 and pointed towards the magician. The party and the DM were like, "Holy shit!" And the boss just killed himself. Not a single turn was taken after that. Oh, and the DM made the dice break because the magician had a powerful will to live. That's fucking metal, dude! Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you too can get notified when we post a brand new video. And of course, leave a comment down below letting us know the best way you completely shut down an encounter. We love you all. Please be safe, be happy, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.